unresponsive. Back in school, people would be scared of Mary. Not that she'd beat you up, but there was something very scary about her. Still, they didn't want it to be true. Their friend attacking another friend. The police eventually went back through the CCTV footage and finally spotted a clue. About 10 seconds after Naomi was seen coming through the barriers at the tube station, there was a woman in a full hijab. The woman is carrying a distinctive handbag, large gray with black straps. It was very similar to the one that Mary had brought with her when she was questioned at the police station. When they looked at Mary again in their footage of her arriving at the police station, she had the same walk. The evidence began to stack against her. Naomi and Mary were both bullied at school for their appearance, and Naomi said that she felt very protective of Mary, and maybe she felt like the way people treated her sometimes wasn't fair. They were picked on, but they had each other's backs, or so Naomi thought. A search of Mary's house revealed a handbag, DCI Willems confirmed, which contained traces of acid. They also noticed that days after the attack, Mary had changed her profile picture to WhatsApp. On WhatsApp to Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street horror films. She added the phrase, "Who looks like wrong turn now?" Naomi remembered the moment that police told her that they'd established went off